Thanks, Emma. Woo, goats. There's, yes, thank you. I knew there'd be someone in here. This is the crowd for it. So my research obviously looked at crossbreeding goats and how we can increase meat productivity. But it took a bit of a turn. I mean, of course, here I was thinking that I'm going to go research, travel the world, figure out that my genetics, quite a stud in that photo. I'll be here and I can sell it all to you and off we go sort of thing. But I realise there's a fair few things we need to fix in this industry first. And that's the right button. With that in mind, I first obviously had the opportunity to travel globally and domestically. Thanks to COVID, I am 2021 scholar. I am still here. It took a little while to get here, but I am here. And but we had this awesome opportunity to still get overseas and do what we needed to do. And so, with that in mind, I came up with bringing this presentation together with the key to goats is quite cliche, because I thought, man, I'm going to be able to come up with this awesome idea on how we're going to fix this industry, this growing industry we have in Australia. But turns out it's probably a little bit more cliche than that. And that's because if we just take a look at a few of these images, I think it gives you an idea of what represents the Australian goat sort of industry. In that top corner is obviously my place, and that just shows a little bit of a mixture on how we farm animals in Australia and what the mix of your herd might look like. Some improved genetics that you can purchase in Australia would be those bucks that you see on the right-hand side, which look really good, and that's not my breeding. That is bought in by someone who's very good at it. And then down the bottom is probably what you'd see typically running around most herds across Australia. And that last image with that massive place there was sort of to intertwine, and before I get to bring that idea together, to show you that while we travelled overseas, we had the opportunity to visit places that were unique and not goat related, and that was a crocodile farm in Zim that we got to go into, and it gave me a different idea on what we face as an industry is not just genetics and productivity, but of course markets as well, and this shows how we can do that in niche markets. So with that in mind, I think the key things that I want to pull together in this short period of time for you, of course, firstly is understanding that what the key is overall is not improving our genetics straight away. Yes, that's important. Of course, we want to do that to create a more conformed product and a sustainable product going forward, something that gives our industry longevity. But we need to manage our animals. And that's probably the biggest case in the goat industry in Australia, is that 90% of it is just an extensive sort of harvest sort of operation. And yes, it's seen as a commodity. It is seen as an industry that we can make quick cash off. But we've seen some trends in the market recently where prices were as high as $11 and then they dropped down to $2.50, and people thought, well, I'm not going to make money here. I'm not going to spend money on it. What am I doing? And then it came to realise, well, it's still a profitable industry. It's one tool in the toolbox. These are goats. These are not your be-all, end-all. We're going to make sure goats are up there. When the market is high, we can expand drastically. And when the market is low, well, we can retain animals, sell some stuff off, and make sure we can put the money into other aspects in our business to make sure that grows and play with that fund. So they're diversification tools. So I think we need to keep that in mind. But to ensure that we can have people invest in the industry, so when prices were high, everyone's like, hey, I'll buy bucks, 10 grand, 20 grand, let's buy something. No data behind it, no understanding of what animal they're purchasing, and then expecting their herd to grow and do all these amazing things, and it's just not going to happen. So I think bringing that all together, the key really here is we need to manage our animals first. And that means looking at how we go from our extensive systems, understanding that there is ways to adapt in the industry. There's domestic markets, not only our international markets. It's growing drastically. And we have to keep in mind that the key here really is, definitely to manage our animals, but know our data. And I think I'll get to that very soon. So that's me. Thank you. Sorry, I might just do this little bit that I forgot to do.
I was about to go, you're 20 seconds under, what are you doing?
So MLA, my sponsor, I want to thank them for this opportunity. It has been a long journey. And everyone thanks Nuffield for this journey, of course, as well. But I think to them it was a real credit that from 2021 to now, the dedication they put in to get me to go across and travel, to do what we wanted to do, to adapt, to travel domestically and not just internationally. They put in a massive effort to get me there. So I really do want to thank them as well. And my family and my friends, my GFP gang, thank you. But my friends and my family, we wouldn't have been able to do it without people looking after the farm and things like that. And of course, my wife-to-be very soon, next month, she supported me all the way as well. So thank you all very much.